Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. How many of you are looking forward to having the best Christmas ever? Yeah. How many of you want to have a great Christmas this year? We all do, don't we? We've been talking about what it means to have an extravagant Christmas, a great Christmas. We all want to have a great Christmas. And we do everything we can in our power to make sure that we and our families, our loved ones, our friends, our family, that everyone has a great Christmas, don't we? What are some of the things we do to make sure that we have a great Christmas? We worship God. Great answer. That's a child who knows presents are tomorrow morning. No, that's a child who's got the right answer. What else? We decorate. We make all the food. We eat all the food. We buy the gifts. We wrap the gifts, right? What else do? We listen to Christmas music. How many of you have been listening to Christmas music since about June? Yeah, I love Christmas music. Except there's that one we don't do anymore. Yes, I do. I love Baby It's Cold Outside. I don't care. I wish it was cold outside right now. Now you can't sing that song. Baby It's Cold Outside. No, it's not. Go outside. It's like 50 degrees. It's fine, right? We even go so far as to endure our families. We'll go to every length. We buy the gifts. We eat the food. We decorate. We have the ugly sweaters. This is the only time of year you can get away with wearing a sweater you would never wear any other time of the year. All because we want what? We want a Merry Christmas. We want a good Christmas. We want the very best. We want an extravagant Christmas. We want it to be over the top. We want all of the Advent gifts, don't we? We want hope in our lives. How many of you want some hope in your life? Some peace, some joy, and some love. But as we've been talking, some of these things are pretty elusive. And here's what happens. We go through this season with all this hope, all this expectation that this Christmas, we're going to have the best Christmas ever. And people are going to love each other and care for each other. And our aunts and uncles are going to get along for once. We're not going to talk politics this year. We're going to talk about things that really matter, right? And what inevitably happens, no matter what happens, whether you argue or don't argue, December 26th always rolls around, doesn't it? December 26th always happens. I hate December 26th. You know why? Because it's after Christmas. And I love all the build up to Christmas. I love the day of Christmas. I love all that we're doing here on Christmas Eve, what we will do tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. right here. I love telling the Christmas story. I love singing happy birthday to Jesus. I love it all. But on December 26th, and for some of us, we stretch it a little further. Because right after Christmas is what? New Year's. New Year's is right there. This year it feels like, bam, it's Christmas, New Year's. Every year it feels like that. And New Year, we have this hope and this expectation that next year is going to be better than this. Why do we always say that? Next year is going to be better than this last year because we're full of hope. But inevitably, whether it's on December 26th or January 3rd or February 28th, whatever day it happens to be, we realize something. All the presents have been unwrapped. The decorations have been put away. All the food is gone. Like all the food is gone. It's toast. You can't wear the ugly sweater anymore because people will make fun of you and ask you what's wrong with you. And all of your family's gone home. And very often, for some of us, we're left just as exhausted or more so than we were before Christmas. We're alone, lonely, depressed, disillusioned, but we always have one hope. What's that hope? Next year will be better. Next year will be the year. I was just talking something about the Broncos football. The beautiful thing about football is there's always next year. There's always next year, and you can ask some of the worst teams in the league, and what will they always tell you? There's always next year. We always have this hope that what's coming down the road is better than what's been in the past. But it's this cycle that keeps coming over and over and over again. And I know you're thinking, Pastor, this is a great message. It's Christmas Eve. We're not done yet. And that's my point. I don't want us to think about next year as being the best Christmas ever. I want to challenge us to make this one the best ever. Make this Christmas the best Christmas you've ever had. Make this Christmas the one you go, man, I'm not sure we can top that one. Because I want us to focus on something other than the decorations and the sweaters and the food. Now, do not hear this. I am all for all of those things. I love all the food. I love all the food. I've been fighting it, but I love the food. I love the songs. Like I said, I love everything about this season. How do we make this season, the day, tonight, and tomorrow, how do we make it the very best ever? I've got the answer. And the answer starts with a dinosaur. I know, that's what you were expecting. I know. You were expecting me to say, I knew you were going to say, I knew it was a dinosaur, and I know what's going through your head right now. Pastor, what does a dinosaur have anything to do with Christmas? And I want to tell you, it has everything to do with Christmas. It has everything to do with how we make this Christmas the very best Christmas you've ever had. This dinosaur holds the key. Would you like to know how? How many of you have ever received a gift at Christmas that required batteries? And how many of you ever received a gift at Christmas that required batteries and you didn't get the batteries? I did this year. This morning, my mother and I and our family got together and she gave me one of my gifts and I'd put it on my Amazon list. This is it. Anyone know what this is? This is a drill. This isn't just any drill. This is a Milwaukee M12 impact drill. It's in the small size. But there's a problem. See, I put this on my Christmas list, and if any of you know Amazon at all, you know when you go to Amazon, sometimes it says you should buy these things with this thing. Well, guess what one of the things was? The batteries to go with the drill. So I opened this up, and I was so excited. It doesn't work. That's why this child, I got to show you this letter. I love this. That's why this child he wrote this to Santa Claus. Dear Santa, Santa, if you bring presents with batteries, bring batteries. That's a fair letter to write to Santa, right? Santa, if you're going to bring me a gift that requires batteries, will you please there's nothing worse than to wake up on Christmas morning and know that your gift needs batteries, but you don't have them. Because why? Why is that bad on Christmas especially? You can't find them. Now, this requires a special battery, so we're not going to talk about that. That's a very special battery. You can't just go anywhere and buy it. But you know all the stores are closed, and you never have the battery you need in the house. How many of you have ever stolen from other things in the house to get the batteries? At Christmas, every smoke detector in your house, there's no batteries in them because you needed those batteries to power the gifts. Or you can go to 7-Eleven because they're open. But they will either not have them or they will cost you $5 million. Because those people know that if you're coming into their store on Christmas Day to get batteries, you need that battery. And there's a supply and demand in effect on Christmas Day. Which brings us to the dinosaur. And I have a helper coming up to help me. Where's my helper? Ava, come on up. Give Ava a round of applause, will you? Ava, come on up here. Ava's my buddy. So, do you like this dinosaur? I want to tell you, this dinosaur is not just any dinosaur. This dinosaur growls and walks. This is a cool dinosaur. But what you have to do, I got to turn it on first of all. And what you need to do, Ava, is you need to push that button right there to make this dinosaur do what the dinosaur does. Are you ready? All right, push that button right there. Push it really hard. No, go ahead and push it. Are you pushing it?
We'll see if I can.
You'll see if you can. Is it not working? Okay, hold on. I think you pressed it. What's the problem?
No batteries.
There's no batteries. See, there's a payoff, okay? What does the toy need? Guess what I have right here? I've got the battery. I've got the battery that the toy needs. Would you like me to put the battery in the toy? What do you think is going to happen when we put the battery in the toy? It's going to work. Now, the second thing, by the way, you ever tried to unwrap a present like this? It takes like 7 NASA engineers to figure out how to get it to work. Oh, so here we go. We got the batteries in it. And now we're going to close up the compartment, right? I don't know why they make it so hard. All right, don't they know I have a sermon illustration? All right, push the button right there. Are you ready? Oh, look at that thing. What's it doing? Now that's a cool toy. And it just keeps going. All right, give Ava a round of applause, will you? Thank you, Ava. You can go back tomorrow. What did the toy do when I gave it some power? It worked. It did exactly what we expected it to do, right? And it's a pretty cool toy, isn't it? You know why I got this toy? Because it said "try me" in the store, and I tried it, and I was like, "Oh yeah! If I'm gonna have a toy at Christmas Eve to use as a sermon illustration, forget the door. I want a dinosaur." As soon as we put the batteries in the dinosaur, what did it do? It worked. It functioned. This present, this gift, needed some power. Well, here we come to the Advent table and the gifts we've been talking about at Christmas. Do you remember all the gifts? What's gift number 1? Hope. Go the right way. Hope. What's the second one? Peace. Third? Joy. And fourth? Love. Could you use these gifts in your life? You know what I love is the fact that we're celebrating Jesus' birthday and he's the one that brings the presents. That's a birthday party, right? When you go to a birthday party and you're the one getting something. But we've talked about this every sermon for the last month as we've talked about hope and the fact that hope opens the door. We need hope in our lives to trust that God has good things in store for us, that he's prepared good things for us, things that we cannot even imagine. We need peace in our lives, but we need real peace. We need God's peace, the kind of peace that we sit down with him and assemble. We need joy. We need to set the thermostat of joy in our lives, not let circumstances determine whether you're joyful or not. By the way, you ever had a kid open a gift that they didn't want? That's happiness, not joy. Joy is, have you seen the YouTube thing with the kid who gets an avocado? Have you seen that YouTube thing? Kid opens the gift and it's an avocado. It's literally an avocado. And the child said, "Oh, thanks, an avocado." That's joy. It says it's not the gift that matters. It's the fact that I got something, that I have everything that I need. And an avocado is just the icing on the cake, I guess. That's joy setting the temperature in our lives. And love. We need love, don't we? I mean, love makes the world go round. But as we've talked about over the course of this last month, these things are elusive. They're slippery, aren't they? They're hard to get a hold of. And as soon as you think you got them, something comes along. December 26th shows up. June 3rd happens, whatever day you've got in your record, and says it tries to steal our hope, peace, joy, and love. Why? Why do these gifts sometimes not work? Yeah, we've got them. It's like having the dinosaur or having the drill, but it just doesn't have what it needs. I mean, did my mom give me what I asked for? Yes. She gave me exactly what I asked for. Well, do we need hope and peace and joy and love? Yeah, we need those things. But we need power to make them function in our lives. On their own, they're just a dinosaur. But you put the batteries in them, and they become something much more. They become something cool. Some of you are wondering, where do I get that dinosaur? The answer is Walmart. That's where all the cool stuff comes from, right? Here's the big question. How do we make these gifts work? How do we power these gifts up? You know the answer. How do we power these up? Jesus. The center candle. Right? We've been walking all around it all month long. Who does the center candle represent? Jesus. And Jesus powers the presence. He powers hope and peace and joy and love. Without him, think about this for a second. Without him, there's no hope. With him, we have hope. With him, do we have peace? What do we have without him? Yeah, anxiety, frustration. With him, we have joy. Without him, what do we have? Yeah, despair or discouragement. These are bad words, right? Without him, what do we have instead of love? The world is full of it. Hate. We wish the world had more love, but the world actually has a whole bucket full of hate. Why? Because they have the gift without the power. They have the gift, and here's the real problem. I can try and make this drill work, yes? I mean, you've seen kids, if the battery's going, and I've been a parent, okay? And I've been a parent of a child who got gifts that you are glad that they have those cheap batteries because you know they're not going to last through the day, and you're thankful for that. But the kids still play with them, don't they? They'll try and make this gift work. See, things fall off. It doesn't work. Pretty soon, by next year, what does this gift look like? Yeah, it's tattered, it's broken, it's in pieces. A lot like the gifts we get at Christmas. Because we're trying to power them. We're trying to make them work. I mean, if I try and use this drill without the power, it's not going to be very much fun, is it? And pretty soon I get frustrated and I get angry and I'm not happy anymore. And I think drills are stupid. Why would I need drills? I don't need dinosaurs. They're a waste of time. I'm glad they're extinct. Because they don't work. And that's what we do with the gifts of Advent when we don't have the power source powering them. Right? We wake up and we say, there's no hope. I've opened the door before, and what's behind that door is not good. There's no peace in the world. Have you looked around the world lately? Is there peace in the world? How about joy? When was the last time you met someone who was really joyful, like wanted to shut them up joyful? Like, would you please stop talking joyful? You're driving me crazy joyful. How about love? When was the last time you walked down the street and said, man, this place is full of love? It's in short supply, isn't it? Because we're missing the power source. But when you plug the power into it, look at what Ephesians says. When you plug the power in, he says, may you have the power to understand, as all God's people should, how wide, how long, how high, and how deep his what is? His love is. May you experience the love of Christ, though it is too great to understand fully. Then you'll be made complete with all the fullness of life and power that comes from God. What powers all these other gifts? What powers you? What's your power source? Jesus and his love. That's why Jesus is at the center of Advent. Now, I know through this entire series, and I'm surprised nobody has commented on this. I've actually commented on it more than anyone. I've commented with the staff. Have you noticed we haven't read any Christmas stories during this series? Well, I'm going to give you one. And the reason we're not is because all of this is about Christmas, but it's about so much more than Christmas, isn't it? Look at this from the very beginning, Matthew 1:23. Look, the virgin will conceive a child. She will give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means what? God is with us. When Jesus is at the center, when he's your power source, when he's with you, everything else works. But here's the question. This happened a long time ago. Is Jesus still with us? Are you sure? How do you know? He was there this morning. I like that. How about this? How about he said so? Jesus said, be sure of this, I'm with you always. Jesus said, be sure of this. What does he want you to be sure of? I'm with you always. So you remember, Jesus powers the presence. It's Jesus who gives power to all of the other candles. So everyone in the room has a candle, yes? And part of the reason that you're here is for what's about to happen next. Why are you here? Candlelight. Don't you love candlelight services? They're fantastic. I love them. But I want to tell you something. As I started thinking about Advent and the candlelight service this year, I realized, and you'll notice something is missing from our Advent table right now. What's missing? Yeah, there's nothing lit. I mean, usually we do this at the very beginning so that I can see how closely I can catch myself on fire every year. I mean, the experience we're about to go through is really an experience. Fire marshals just must never sleep tonight, ever. This and July 4th, they're just on edge. Because we're about to give a whole bunch of people flames. Which, by the way, if you have children, you're responsible for those children. In two ways. Number one, please don't let them light themselves or anything else around them on fire. And number two, please don't let them drip wax all over the place. Here's the reason why none of this is lit. Because I realized this year, and this is probably something we're going to do from now on, because I don't think I'm going to be able to do it any other way. I have lit the Advent candles backwards every Christmas Eve. Because how do I normally light them? Hope, then peace, then joy, then love, and then Jesus. Is that the right way? No. What did we just learn? Jesus powers the presence. Jesus is the power source. He's the one that gives power to all of these other candles. I only need to light one candle. Don't do this. What candle do I need to light? The Jesus candle. He's first. And once I light that candle, everything else comes out of that, doesn't it? So where does love come from? Jesus. Love finds its source and its power in Jesus. Where does joy come from? We can only have joy. You can have happiness a million different ways. You can only have joy, real joy, true joy in Christ. How about peace? Man, the world is striving for peace. It wants it. But it only comes from Christ. And how about hope? Who is our hope in? Jesus. See, we've done it backwards this whole time. That's what the picture should look like. Jesus is the power. He's the source. He's the battery that lights all the other gifts and makes them possible. So if you want to have the very best Christmas this year, where do you have to start? You have to start with Jesus. See, it's not about the decorations. It's not about the food. It's not even about all the people. It's about, as we do all of that, are we focused on the real power of Christmas? So we're not going to light our candles off of this candle. And we talked about yesterday, if I want to share Jesus with the world, how does that happen? I have to pass it on, right? So here's what I want. I want you to come up. Let's dim the lights, kill the lights. Off of the Jesus candle you light. One candle. Right there. And then go back and share that. Let's all stand. We're going to light our candles with the person next to you. Nope, right there. Light off of his. And watch what happens in this room while we sing.
Silent night.
Father, this afternoon we thank you for being the gift of Christmas. The gift, the sacrifice of God the Father sending his one and only Son. He gave his Son because he loved us. You came, Emmanuel, God with us, so that we would have the power source that we would need, the power behind our hope, the reason for our peace, the source of our joy, the focal point of all of our love. All of that finds its origin, its source in a little baby boy, born some 2,000 years ago, off the beaten path, in the middle of nowhere, in a borrowed stable. No pomp, no circumstance. Because you didn't come to exalt yourself. You came to save us. You came to give us the one thing we needed the most, and we didn't even know it. You are the power of Christmas. And Father, our world is fond of saying, our culture is fond of saying, Christians are fond of saying, we need to put Christ back in Christmas. But I am here to declare that he never left.
That's right.
And he is the reason for the season. And we are the reason for the season. You came to be with us, to give us hope, peace, joy, and love through the power and love and sacrifice of your Son, Jesus Christ. So today, tonight, tomorrow, this is the best Christmas we'll ever have. Because we've made Jesus the focal point, the power behind this Christmas. And all God's people said, Amen. God bless you. Have a glorious afternoon. Merry Christmas.